perspective, it's only my opinion. Coffee milk.
Welcome, people. Welcome to the show. This is Coffee Milk. My name is Clayon. So this week I have been thinking a lot about extremism and what it takes for someone to become an extremist. So I was looking up in the dictionary the definition of the word extremist, and it says it's a person that holds extreme and fanatical political or religious views, especially one who results to or advocates extreme action. So it is a person, specifically from the definition's point of view, a person that acts based upon extreme political views or extreme religious views. And the more I thought about it, when you use a word like fanatical, that is the based word for, or root word, or whatever you want to call it, for fan, right? I was thinking that I think that we accept certain extremists and others we don't necessarily accept. And I'm not arguing for or against, I just like to sort of analyze a little bit. So if you root for a team, I would consider you, I don't want to say I would consider you an extremist if you root for a team, because I think you could root for a team without being a fanatic, I think someone who sort of paints themselves in the team color, gets into fights and arguments in the parking lot, those type of people I would consider extremists, right? Someone that gets so upset that their team lost or won that they go and vandalize things. If you think about a lot of college football celebrations, a lot of the bowl celebrations, at the end, if a team wins, like a home team wins, the fans, they go out in the streets and they just celebrate and wreak havoc. I would consider those people extremists, right? Because they're acting upon their fanaticism for this team. It has driven them to do stupid things because, I guess, to show how much they care for said team. How do you get someone to not be prone to extremism when we've trained people from the beginning to have that mentality, right? If a kid likes a television show, what do? We buy all kinds of trinkets and teddy bears and all kind of blankets with that character's likeness on it. We sort of feed this extremism, this fanaticism from a very young age. Your kid likes Spider-Man, you buy them all the Spider-Man toys, this new Spider-Man movie's out, they have to see it, they have Spider-Man socks, Spider-Man. Like, this culture feeds extremism, it feeds fanaticism. And then when it's used in a negative way, we don't know how to react. Well, these people have been nurtured, I believe, from a very young age to have this mindset, to have this kind of, I go all in for my team mindset. America has this weird thing about teams. We protect, this whole weird protect our own, I think, has left us open for abuse. And this is what I mean. When a police officer does something wrong, other police officer comes around and protects that police officer, right? If a rapper does something terrible, all the DJs that have relationship with the rapper tries to paint that rapper in a good light and be like, oh no, just because they're part of the same club, they like protect each other. It's this weird, like, if you're a fireman, firemen protect firemen, teachers protect teachers. Even if that there's an individual not doing their job properly, that group, that collective kind of protects, because we sort of train, it's a weird thing where we've trained people to protect your family, even if they are terrible, because maybe you feel that you can handle it in-house. Somehow they feel like they have control. They can somehow curve, or maybe they just don't care. But I think we have to sometimes analyze our extremism and also analyze the way we get into these groups and then protect these people in the group no matter what. You know, as black people, when it came to Bill Cosby, we did that. R. Kelly, we did that for a while until it was just overwhelming evidence. We try to protect R. Kelly, I mean, like, oh, it's white people. And a lot of times it is, I think, white people trying to villainize black people. But there are those times where that black person, whether it be a star or whatever, needs to be villainized because they are doing something wrong. And because they're part of our group, we have a harder time chastising them, because somehow we, I think, see ourselves in them, and we can see us making mistakes like that. I don't know what it is, but we have this weird thing about protecting our own extremists. We give them leeways. Okay? White Republican GOPs, they protect their extremists because they feel like they have some kind of a fucking hand on the situation, even though they don't. They'll make excuses for them, and I feel like there's a bunch. I just think there's a bunch of groups that just do that. They just protect their own, and it hurts society as a whole when you protect a person that isn't worth protecting just because you feel like it's going to somehow reflect either badly on you. It's like people don't have empathy strong empathy unless they can see themselves reflect in another person. And that's when they usually tend to react. I was looking up while trying to analyze this word, what makes an extremist? It says no single reason explains why people become violent extremists, but it often happens when someone is trying to fill a deep personal need. For example, a person may feel alone or lack of meaning and purpose in life, which I think that is a thing that is prevalent right now, where I think a lot of people do feel alone, and like maybe they don't have necessarily a purpose. I get that feeling. Those who are emotionally upset after a stressful event. Some people also become violent extremists because they disagree with government policies. They hate certain types of people. So that one's pretty obvious. They don't feel valued or appreciated by society. That one, it's like how do you guys, the people who went on the riot spree last week, how do they not feel valued and appreciated when this whole society is made for them? This whole society is made for them in mind. The society isn't made for me in mind. I just happen to be there. You know? So I don't understand how a group of people can feel devalued and not appreciated by society when they have a whole society made, handmade, hand carved for them. It goes on and says, so yeah, they don't feel valued and appreciated by society, or think that they have limited chance to succeed. Now, they might think they have limited chance to succeed because the people that they believe in keep telling them that the others are taking away their jobs. And so I can understand from their perspective why they would feel that, especially because the people that they trust in, those same people are telling them and feeding them lies. Just constant, just dish of just bull, you know, just horse manure, you know, all that. So from that perspective, if you're not willing to sort of search for the truth and you're just willing to stay in that sort of bubble, that comfort bubble, then yes, because the people that you trust in they're not trying to uplift you. They're trying to make you feel like a victim so that they can keep you under their thumb and have sort of control over you. Fear. You keep people in fear so that you can control. Anywho, these people, these extremists, they feel as if they're not appreciated by society and they're limited in their chances to succeed. They've convinced themselves that, and there is nothing that we can do or say to convince them otherwise. It's pretty sad. All right, moving on, getting into the shits, getting into the week and what happened. Well, I'm sure you guys know out there by now that Jay-Z has started or partnered with this company TPCO to start a cannabis company or cannabis brand. I think it's called Monogram is the name of it. So his role in the company is as Chief Visionary Officer. Good. So it sounds good. I love that, you know, more black people have ownership in the cannabis industry, especially at this point when it's just starting off. I think that's fantastic. I love it. I'm there with you. The issue I might have, though, is the pricing on said cannabis that you, Monsieur Jay-Z, Jigga Man, Hove, that nigga Jigga. The pricing point, because I've heard through the grapevine that a pre-roll is $50 for a pre-roll of marijuana, of Monogram. $50 for a pre. Now, I know that this is what happens when anything sort of starts out, right? You start out the market, you see that people love this thing. Of course, everyone loves weed. And then they do this thing where they make what I would like to call uppity weed, where it's just weed. It's probably the same kind of smoke as the other strains, but just because it has Jay-Z's name on it and it's called Monogram, it has to be $50 a pre-roll. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I'm fine and I'm happy and I love that black people are getting a chance to be part of the cannabis industry. Shit, wish I could be a part of it. I just don't want it to get into a situation where we're now paying a lot of money for something that should not be as much. $50 for a pre-roll is way too much. That's like a nice quarter or something. Like that should like. So before we get into the ridiculousness, let's get into some good news, my friends. Some good positive black news. God damn it, this is the second week I did that. Luckily, I learned from my mistakes, even if that means making the same mistake. But at least this time I'm prepared. Like I was saying, some good news for you guys. Abby Phillips is going to replace John King as anchor of Inside Politics Sunday. That is freaking awesome. I like when black women tell me things. I can't help it. I can't help that like that. You know, don't blame me that I like when black women inform me. It's fine. Anyways, another black awesomeness. Her name is Shauna Thompson. She's an award-winning journalist, producer, and program executive. Has been named executive producer for CBS News, CBS This Morning. So that's freaking awesome. Congratulations to you. And last but not least on the good news spectrum, Kevin Hart just signed a 4-film deal with Netflix. The partnership includes a first look agreement with the actor comedian's company, and the actor will star and produce 4 feature films. So I'm assuming first look agreement means, I just for my little knowledge, I think it means whatever Kevin's production company is working on, Netflix gets sort of a first look to see whether they want to make it or not, if they want to pass. So that's pretty cool. But I'm really happy to hear. I love Kevin Hart's content. I know a lot of you guys out there hate on Kevin Hart a lot for some strange reason, because you don't want to see a motherfucker shine. You know, you don't want to see positive black men shine. I think I don't understand why all the negativity. I feel like that's a gentleman that we should be praising more. That's a dude that we should be, you know, showering. That is the word. Showering with praise, instead of constantly jumping on him. Like his last stand-up special, I'll admit, wasn't my favorite Kevin Hart stand-up, but you have to put in things in perspective sometimes. The fact that he wasn't able to go to different clubs and work on his routine, I feel like we should consider things like that when we were watching the special. But no, I thought it was a decent special. You know, it wasn't like, you know, it was. I thought I liked the idea of it. But I just feel like there's better ways than to hate on your fellow black man for trying to be great. And Kevin Hart has been nothing but positive. Like, minus whatever's happening in his love life, his wife is still with him. So like, who cares about that? If they have worked it out, it has nothing to do with, you know, me or us or any of us. Yeah. So I really wish and hope that we would support our black content creators more than, like, if they do something, and it doesn't mean if they do something bad you shouldn't have an opinion on it. No, you should have your opinion on something, but I think it's just always important to put things in perspective, rather than to quickly always rush to judgment. So, yeah, man, stop hating on Kevin. Just support. If you don't like it, that's fine, but just chill. All right, guys, now back to the shits. Back to the insanity. So I've never heard of this guy before. I don't really watch that much MMA. I watch, you know, every once in a while, John Bone Jones and things like that, just the really top name dudes. But this gentleman's name is Irwin Rivera. And the reason I'm talking about Irwin Rivera is because he killed both his sisters. So he, and this is his quote, he said, I killed my sister. This is what he said according to ESPN. Rivera told police that he entered his sister's bedroom while they were sleeping and stabbed them with a brass knuckle knife. That is some sick shit. What did they do to deserve this kind of action from their brother, someone that they trust, that they're supposed to trust or put trust in? I don't understand humans sometimes. I don't understand us. We're so fucking weird. Like, those are your sisters, and you treated them like they were an enemy, or like they came to your house, smeared poo on the wall, and wore fucking buffalo hats and painted their face red, white, and blue. And you have to be not there to do an act like this. To go into your sister's room with a knuckle knife or a knife knuckle, and then just, he believed he had to kill his sisters, and he did it because it was his purpose. The conversation isn't as loud as it used to be, but I remember we were talking a lot a bunch of years ago about CTE and the brains of NFL players, because they're constantly getting their freaking brains rattled. The conversation did not branch over to other sports as much. It kind of stayed a lot on the NFL, which is totally understandable. I'm surprised when it comes to like combat sports, we haven't been sort of analyzing that more, because clearly I think something is wrong with this dude's brain, and I think MMA contributed to that. Constantly getting punched in the face, I'm sure contributed to that. I'm not blaming it solely on it, but we have to admit that that's a factor in this dude's decision to enter his sister's freaking room with a knuckle knife and basically stab them to death. Like, that's intense. That's like fucking some intense rage to do. You're doing one and then the other. Like, that is fucking insane. So Busta Rhymes is in the news this week. But yes, in the interview, Busta Rhymes said that he had to tape his belly for one of his music videos, and that was sort of the tip of the spear. That was, I guess, when he for sure realized that maybe he needs to do something about his body, which is fucking awesome. Not awesome that you got to that point, but man, there's nothing more awesome than realizing that you need to do something and then just doing it. Like, big ups to that shit. Big ups to knowing that, hey, you know what? I gotta work this off. I gotta put the work in. I can't continue to look like this. This is not good for me. And then actually going in and doing the fucking work. Because if you look at the picture right now, this dude got abs. He went from gut to abs, and that's you know, for putting the fucking work in. So big ups to Busta Rhymes. Yeah, man. Like, even if at one point you had to do that, the fact that opened your eyes to make a change, you needed to go through that. Sometimes you need to go to the muck and the grind to get to the other side. You get dirty so that you can get clean. So, hey man, I'm all for that. Lamar Odom, guys. Lamar Odom signed a celebrity boxing contract, and I don't know if that's a smart thing, Monsieur Lamar Odom. I don't. The thing is, okay. I don't like this because if he loses, I'm gonna feel bad for him. Like I already feel bad for Lamar Odom just because of his sort of downfall or his fall from grace or however you want to call it. Like, I already have empathy and sympathy for this gentleman because of all the shit he had to deal through in regards to his dad and his best friend, and being in the spotlight and then having this big I feel it hurt. Like, I feel for this dude. So what I worry about is waking up to a Nate situation where he gets a match with someone and they knock him out. It's just like another thing. And how does that help? How does publicly getting knocked out affect someone who already has self-esteem issues and things like that's not good. Someone who is so fragile that if their emotion gets in a certain way that they get dependent on drugs, that's not a person that I think is a great candidate to be publicly embarrassed. I think I don't like it. And yes, you could say, what about the opposite end? What if he succeeds, right? What if he's the victor in all of this? And yes, there could be a possibility that he could be a victor, but what does that help him in any way, shape, or form? In a positive way? Does that, let's say he does win. Let's say he gets into the ring and he beats whoever. Do we then be like, yeah, Lamar Odom is the man and we should give him more opportunity? Like, do you get more opportunities if you do succeed in this boxing thing? Well, it depends on, I guess, how who the caliber of fighter you fight against and how you beat them. But I just feel like there is a greater chance of a downfall than positive. I just think he's too emotionally fragile to have the potential to be that embarrassed. Like, Nate got knocked down like how many times, Nate Robinson, and he handled it like a champ as much as you can, getting knocked. I don't know if Lamar has that same
You might not agree, it's cool. I'm one of a gang. Trying to move forward, so I gotta be progressive. Gotta make sure everything I say is selective. It's only my opinion. Coffee milk.